In this video, we will be discussing how to properly maintain and service the power pack on your forced air kerosene heater. Please, when working on these heaters, always remember to unplug the unit and observe all shop safety practices. Some of the supplies you will need include a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and a can of silicone lubricant. Okay, let's get started. The first thing you will need to do is gain access to the power pack, which is on the back of the heater under the top shell. On Mr. Heater models, you'll have to remove the 4 screws holding the back half of the top shell in position. For DeWalt models, you can simply remove the rear guard by unscrewing the 3 screws that hold the back grate in place. Once the guards have been removed, you will have easy access to everything covered in this video. Next, remove the 3 screws that hold the inlet cover in place. When you remove the inlet cover, make note of the position of the filter and the location of the hole. It is very important to put the filter back in the same exact way it was taken out. Next, we can remove the outlet cover. Remove the 6 screws that hold the aluminum plate in place. Each screw has a washer on it, so when removing them, be sure not to drop the washer down inside the heater. After all of these screws are loose and the plate can be removed, pull it away from the heater slowly, making sure the vanes encased in the cylinder do not fall out and down into the unit. With the 6 screws removed, there is still a rubber hose attached to the outlet cover. There is no need to disconnect this hose, just be careful not to damage it. In this section, we need to remove the vanes. Spin the rotor with one hand and remove the vane with the other. There are 4 in total. The vanes and rotors can be chipped, so be careful to pull the vane straight out and not at an angle. Next, simply pull the rotor straight out, being careful not to drop it. Lastly, remove the rotor drive key and inspect it for damage. Pictured here are 2 drive keys. The shape of the key should be flat on 2 sides and mirror the shape of the drive shaft. If the center of your key is completely round, it has been stripped and should be replaced. Now, we can reinstall the rotor and drive key. First, place the drive key under the back side of the rotor. Then, place the rotor against the back of the drive shaft and spin it slowly until the rotor and key have seated, and slide down the shaft against the back of the motor housing. Finally, spin the fan. If the fan spins freely, like in the video on the bottom right, we can move on to installing the vanes and outlet housing. If there is any drag in the fan, like the video on the top left, loosen the 2 screws on the cylinder and move it up slightly to remove any drag. Now, we can reinstall and adjust the outlet housing. To install the outlet housing, first place it against the cylinder and rotors and locate the first screw hole. Do the same with the second screw that is adjacent to the first. That will make the other 4 fairly easy to locate. It is important to install all of the screws loosely before finally tightening them down in a star pattern. Before you begin to fully tighten the first screw, use one hand to push the outlet housing up and to the left towards the 1130 position. Then tighten 2 of the screws so that the plate holds that position. This aligns the ports and allows for proper airflow. To check if you have proper alignment, refer to the inset picture. The red is the rotor, and the blue is the gap you should see. That gap is the pathway for air to move from the pump to the nozzle, so it is important to keep that pathway open. Next, reinstall the plastic inlet housing in the reverse of the install, being careful not to over-tighten and crack the plastic. Now we can lubricate the rotor and vanes. Start by plugging in the heater, then pull the foam filter down and turn the unit on. Wait for the heater to begin to run and spray 1 or 2 quick bursts of silicone lubricant in the inlet housing, being careful not to insert the hose of the spray can into any of the holes in the plastic. Also, if there is fuel in the heater, be sure you're in a ventilated space and proper clearance to combustibles are being observed. Now, just set the pressure that is appropriate for your unit and it can be placed back into service. Pictured here is a list of units and pressures they should be set with. If you don't see your unit listed, please refer to the manual that was packaged with your heater. If your unit is not equipped with a pressure gauge, the pressure can be set by looking at the burn on the front of the heater. The cone on the front of the unit should glow a consistent red-orange with little to no flames licking out around the cone. If the cone is dark, turn the screw to the right to increase the pressure. If there are excess flames, turn it to the left to reduce the pressure. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Should you have any questions, please feel free to contact us by calling 800-251-0001. Or you can email our technical service manager, Bill, directly at the email shown on your screen. Thank you.